Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already and drop a like on this video. I am trying to hit 100k subscribers, so your subscription will be much appreciated. Also drop a like, 1 second, massive difference. You know the whole deal. Sorry the videos have been far and few between over on this channel. Hell, they've been far and few between over on my main channel as well. Just going through one of the worst depressive states of my entire life, and I'm very much not wanting to do work right now, but I'm trying to power through, so bear with me. But today's video is hot takes. It's been a long time since we've done this, but let's get into it. Russell Westbrook will go down as this generation's John Stockton. Great guards, but overrated by many. Selfish play style as seen by usage rate and high numbers of assists. Had great talent by their side, never won a chip. I do think there are some parallels there. The difference is Russell Westbrook is not afraid to shoot. My biggest criticism of John Stockton as a player is that he should have been more aggressive scoring-wise and done less playmaking. So I definitely don't think that's a one-to-one comparison. Also, the fact that Russell Westbrook is just simply more talented than John Stockton. Had a very different mindset than John Stockton. But I do see an argument where it's like there are some clear deficiencies in their play. What's interesting is Russell's is a little bit more documented because we live in the social media era, and John Stockton, with the power of hindsight, gets treated like a god. Russell Westbrook's higher all time, by the way, even though that's going to bother people. But yeah, I can see the comparison, but it's definitely not one-to-one. Ja is a lot more valuable than Zion. Just about any player in the league is more valuable than Zion right now because they're actually playing basketball. But with that question of who would you take number one in that draft class now, I think it's pretty obvious that all of us are going Ja Morant, just simply off of the fact there is very little hope that Zion Williamson is really going to have the full, fruitful career that we want him to have. Hopefully that ends up not being the case, but just for the sake of simplicity, you go Ja Morant, not to mention Ja is better now than we've ever seen Zion be. But of course, we've also barely seen Zion and barely seen him able to elevate his game. So to that end, I don't think that's a fair comparison. But yeah, Ja is certainly more valuable than Zion right now. Fucking Derrick Jones Jr. is more valuable than Zion right now because he's actually playing basketball games. Evan Mobley in year one will still be better than this entire rookie class in year two. I wouldn't put it past Cade Cunningham to potentially be capable of being better than current Evan Mobley by the time he's gone through his second year. But everybody else probably not. Cade Cunningham, I think, just has the highest potential to improve in the shortest amount of time because he started off so poorly. But Evan Mobley is definitely special, and he's already a borderline all-star talent as a rookie. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cade Cunningham was a borderline all-star player by his second season, but I'd pretty much be surprised if anybody else from this draft class was borderline all-star caliber by just their second year. But this draft class as a whole is fucking phenomenal, and Evan Mobley is fucking phenomenal. The Suns are holding back Deandre Ayton. I've said this for a while now. Deandre Ayton should be averaging 23 points per game, but the Suns system just doesn't really give him those types of possessions, especially in the post, to allow him to do that. That said, the Suns win basketball about as much as you can really feasibly expect them to. So to that end, I don't know how much I can really criticize their approach. If, sure, maybe DeAndre Ayton is not putting up quite the numbers that he is capable of doing, but if he is contributing to winning basketball, the Suns are winning about as much as you possibly can. At that point, can't really be critical. I would like to see the world where DeAndre Ayton is averaging 25 and 15, but at the same time, the world where he's averaging 18 and 12 and the Suns are really, really good is not a bad world whatsoever. Well, that aspect of the world is not bad. The actual world sucks as a whole, but that's a whole nother conversation. Kobe is not top 10 all time. No one was saying it until it was convenient to show fake love. Being the 12th best player to ever live is not an insult. See, this is a bunch of horseshit. Now, first of all, Kobe is top 10 all time. I will respect someone saying he's like 11 or 12. Because there are players that I would put 11 or 12 that a lot of people would be like, why the hell is that guy not in your top 10? And the main player there being Wilt Chamberlain, I just would not put in my top 10. At the same time, though, what kind of fucking revisionist history is this where it's saying no one was saying he was top 10 until after he died. Is that the argument here? An excuse to show fake, or convenient to show fake love, which is very disrespectful to phrase it like that, by the way. But if anything, Kobe being perceived as outside of the top 10 has become more popular over the last 3 years than it has ever been before. Because when I first started watching the NBA in 2012, universally Kobe was considered a top 10 player of all time, pretty much. And it was a very, 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 very common opinion for him to be perceived as top 3, if not number 1 of all time. Now, I'm not saying that's fair. I think Kobe at 11 is a little bit more reasonable than Kobe at 2. But to act as though, A, he's clearly not in the top 10, or that it's people just randomly, retroactively put him there as if they didn't have him way higher previous. That's just revisionist history, and very blatantly wrong revisionist history. I don't know what world you grew up in, but Kobe being perceived as the GOAT, or top 3 of all time, is honestly just as common, if not more, than people perceiving him as 12th all time. So I think he's in the middle of that conversation. I think both extremes are wrong. But saying that that's like a new thing to put him in the top 10, no the fuck it is not. Absolutely it is not. If all of Jordan's competition was in the West, his career would be the same as LeBron's. Is this argument saying that if Jordan's, like, all the Eastern Conference competition went to the West, it would be the same as LeBron's, and that's a diss on LeBron? Or are you saying if he dealt with a level of competition in the West, then that's a diss on Jordan? Maybe you're saying he would have made all those finals in a row, but he wouldn't have the same record, because, like, if you want to make the Western Conference Jordan argument, he beat the best team in the Western Conference 6 times in a row. So not really there. This take confuses me as to where you're actually trying to go with it. If you want to say, like, if the East was weak, that's essentially what LeBron's career has been. LeBron's had very different results. Oh, wait. Are you saying, okay, if all of the talent went to the West, that would make the West that much stronger? Therefore, his career, he would be able to get through the East easily like LeBron has, but the competition coming out West would be stronger. That's interesting. I kind of see your point there. I think that's what you were trying to say. To that end, maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting take, for sure. And you're kind of making the argument that it wasn't a talent or anything like that difference. It was just simply different circumstances. And I think Jordan and LeBron are essentially tied as far as talent goes. And I just simply put Jordan over him all time because he just had a few more accolades. Sure, I can see that. I don't disagree if that's the point you're making. And it's a very interesting point, especially because it took me a second to fucking get what you were saying. But I agree. The Bulls season is very comparable to what it was with the Suns last year, and they have a very similar path. Young star in Book/Levine traded for a vet whose impact was more than people anticipated, and they have young, perfect role players for Miles, very skilled centers. The center comparison is not 1-to-1 because Vucevic has sucked this year, and the Bulls have not been as good as the Suns regular season-wise as the Suns were last year, or this year, obviously. But yeah, I do see the thing where, like, DeRozan is in the place of CP3, Levine is in the place of Devin Booker. Still some young talent on the team sticking around while also contributing to winning now. I've kind of made the argument that they're in a similar, they had a similar type of upbringing to those teams, but the Phoenix Suns are considerably better. So I wouldn't say it's 1-to-1 either. I said 1-to-1 like 15 times in this video. Luka will never improve significantly in terms of scoring efficiency, and he doesn't have much room left to grow as a player overall besides improving a little bit with playmaking and defense. We have seen most of what he will ever be as a player already. Well, the thing is, Luka Doncic is so fucking good that, one, if he just continues to be as good as he is right now for 15 years, he's going to be an all-time great talent regardless, or an all-time great player regardless. He'll probably retire top 20 of all time just by being what he is now for another 15 years. That said, Luka has made significant strides in his game every single year of his career, to the point where I don't know that I'm comfortable saying that quite yet. okay, so here's kind of the trajectory. Rookie year, he was rookie year. Second year, he jumped all the way to the superstar. He kind of didn't do anything that differently his superstar year from his rookie year, other than he just did it more and better. It wasn't like a bunch of new skills. It's just the skills that he already displayed. He did more and better. The next year, mid-range game. Holy shit, was the mid-range game better. And then this year, defense. Holy shit, the defense has been better. So to that end, I don't know that Luka is done making improvements. I think his 3-ball will eventually go in at a higher rate than it has for his career thus far. He shot 35% last year. He's been down this year. Hopefully he can swing that around and start going back up. But either way, I would just make the argument, even if Luka doesn't take any significant stride in his game, he's already a superstar player at like 20. He's 22 years old. I know that because he's a year older than me with 1 day. So he's almost 23 because I'm almost 22. But regardless, plenty of years ahead of him, and even if he doesn't drastically improve, it's still going to be very good. Ja Morant will never win MVP, but he will always have CP3 type MVP conversations. I think the difference there is I feel like Ja has more capacity to put up serious MVP numbers, and CP3 has put up serious MVP numbers before, but there's been a lot of years in his career where the problem that held Chris from really actually being an MVP was that his numbers were just a little bit not outstanding, like in terms of just pure filling up the box score. Like I believe was his career like an 18-9, something like that, 19-9. He's had years where it was like 25-11, and those were his serious MVP years, but he's had other years where he was winning at the highest level and his numbers were like 19-9, and that's not quite like, it's not bad numbers by any means, but it's a little bit like, oh my god, those aren't holy shit box scores. I feel like Ja Morant has a few holy shit box score seasons in him. I mean, right now he's averaging 24-7, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. But if you want to make the argument that he probably doesn't and he will just kind of be in the conversation for his entire career, not a bad place to be. So I don't know. I don't feel strongly on this one. Steve Nash is overhated because of how many MVPs he got. If he hadn't stolen Kobe's MVPs, he would be looked back on more positively. Well, first of all, he stole those MVPs from Dirk or LeBron, depending on the year, not Kobe. And even though people feel differently about that, that's the truth of the situation. And I will agree that Steve probably gets a little bit too much shit because people don't think he deserved his MVPs, but at the same time, you could very well argue that those MVPs just as much elevated his legacy to where it balances out to where he probably would be the same with or without them. It's just more volatile, and the difference of opinion is more significant. But yeah, that was Hot Takes. Goodbye.